All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Benison channel on YouTube. This is Cal Knight, your host. I'm a watch enthusiast, collector, trader, investor, and an expert. For the past 15 years, I've been enjoying luxury timepieces as an asset class and something that's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful expression of wearing amazing pieces on the wrist like this Audemars Piguet, but also enjoying them where they'll make money and not lose money over time. Today we're going to share some tips with you so that when buying a luxury watch, you guys won't lose your behind. So how to buy a luxury watch while not getting ripped off. That's what we're going to cover. I'm going to give you some ideas of what to look for and how to approach this, whether you're buying online, in person, whether you're buying from dealers, whether you're buying from wholesalers, whether you're buying from gray market folks. We're going to cover some of that right here. And then I'm going to give you some ideas about how to approach that so you don't get screwed over. And I want to hear your comments and any sort of agreement or disagreement you have in the comments below, okay? So the first thing you want to do when you're looking for a luxury timepiece, whether it's online or in person, is you want to ask about the service history. So ask the person who is selling the timepiece whether they are a private seller, whether they are a dealer in the pre-owned market or the secondary market, when the last time is that a luxury piece got serviced. Now, most people will know if they've been an owner as a one-person owner or a long-term owner what the service history was of this luxury timepiece. Some people may not. If they're the second, third, fourth, or fifth owner of a luxury timepiece, they won't necessarily know sometimes what the service history has been of these watches, and that's okay. Sometimes we don't have the entire track record of what comes with a luxury watch, and so we have to be prepared to ask those questions in advance to make sure that these people are keeping track of what's actually needed and what's not. If you're buying from an authorized dealer and it's a brand new piece, obviously that's not going to be an issue because the piece itself is coming straight from the manufacturer and you're not going to have to worry about if it's been serviced or if it needs service. But when you're buying in the pre-owned market, always ask this question. It's a good idea to try to get some gauge around what the person actually knows about their watch that they're selling. It can also raise certain flags if you're looking for those. So an example might be if someone is saying that they have no idea what the service history is of this watch, they don't even remember who they bought it from, and it was somewhere that they don't even recall, they have no details, could be a flag, right? Because most people will remember either what type of person they bought it from, where they bought it, how long ago they bought it, and can give you some track record of provenance of that watch. So ask that question. It can give you some details in terms of what to look for and avoid some flags, but it also can let you know maybe you're going to have to service that watch coming up soon, or maybe you have nothing to worry about. If it's within manufacturer warranty and it's still covered, a lot of those will transfer from person to person. So for example, if you buy a Rolex in the pre-owned market and it's still under the Rolex manufacturer warranty, you will be covered when that transfers to you by buying it from someone else. Some warranties do not transfer. And then there's third-party warranties like they offer here at Benison, where if you had it serviced by them as an authorized service center, they might still cover that warranty if it needs it within a certain spectrum of time. So asking that question is huge because it can protect you from a lot of issues. It can save you from buying something that's completely trashed, beat up, or needing like, $1,000 overhaul on the watch. And this is something you can be prepared for in advance so that whether you're buying it or not, you can use that as a negotiation point when you're purchasing that piece, okay? So always ask that question. Number 2 is buy the seller and their reputation. This is huge. I can't express this enough. A lot of people will look into the watch itself and start being concerned about whether it's fake, whether there's an issue, whether there's something that could go wrong. And this is understandable because in the pre-owned secondary market, that can happen much more frequently than it does buying from an authorized dealer. And that's the reason most of you or some of you will buy from an authorized dealer instead of in the secondary market online. But in the secondary market, in the pre-owned market, that's where a lot of the deals are had. That's where good prices can be found most of the time. So in order to get confident and comfortable with the secondary market, what I suggest you do is buy the seller's reputation. So how can you check that? If you're buying on eBay or Chrono24 or Grailsy, for example, look at how many transactions the person has done. Look at how frequently the person is transacting. Look at their customer reviews. Look for these reference points or referrals, if you will, to check on the person that you're buying from. If the person has, for example, been online for 10 years selling luxury timepieces, whether they're a dealer, a gray market dealer, a wholesaler, a trader, a collector, and they've done many good deals, chances are you have high seller reputation security. If they haven't done a lot of those deals, then you might want to be more cautious and more vigilant. You might want to ask more questions. You might want to slow down the process of purchasing a watch, because fly-by-night sellers exist and they could sell you something. You could have it in hand, not check it for 6 months, and then by the time you go back to reclaim whatever the issue is, or if you see that it's fake, that seller could be gone. So any seller that's worth their weight in gold, I always say, will always try to work with you and communicate with you to make something right if it is not right, because their reputation is worth more than the multi-thousand dollars than they sold you the watch for to try to screw you out of money. This happens all the time. I've seen bad actors and sellers who will try to screw you. I've seen people who are excellent and have great reputations. So make sure you're doing your own due diligence, okay? The third thing you want to do to not get screwed on buying a luxury timepiece is do a little bit of legwork to check pricing. Now, I'm not going to give you all of the sweet spots and the details because each model and brand is different for understanding what a fair price is for buying a luxury timepiece. But there's some stuff that's very obvious. And if you go online and you check Chrono24, you check eBay, for example, you check Grailsy, you check some of the places like Watch Recon where they list on the forums, you can see what a luxury watch is priced at in the market, in the secondary market, above and beyond whether that's lower or higher than the MSRP from the authorized dealer. Now, whether you're buying brand new or you're buying in the secondary market, you want to at least have an idea of what the pricing looks like so that you can come up with some framework of what you're comfortable with paying that dealer so that you're not getting screwed. The number one way people get screwed is they don't look anywhere for this watch model. They have no benchmark around what pricing can be, and they go and they try to purchase that watch and then they realize, oh crap, 50% drop on price in the secondary market and I bought it brand new from Hublot at full MSRP. So make sure you're checking pricing. The fallacy here though, as a caveat, so just make sure you're not doing this, is make sure you're using the exact comps and the exact reference. There's nothing worse than an ignorant buyer who's coming in, who's talking to dealers or other people who are active collectors and enthusiasts and experts in the game, sharing comps or things that aren't the exact model, trying to make a point about price when it has no relevance whatsoever. So don't be that guy or gal, be the person who actually looks at the right stuff and then have a conversation. Don't just say, because this one's at this price, this is what I need it at. Again, that's very ignorant, that's very naive. Come at it from the perspective of kind of understanding where you want to be on the watch and see if you can work something out. Okay? Number 4, very important. Get your luxury timepieces authenticated. I can't stress this enough. A lot of you have local watchmakers and dealers you might prefer, or you can use someone like Benison here in West Palm Beach, Florida. They accept shipments of all these luxury timepieces and have watchmakers that other people don't have access to globally, only in Switzerland sometimes. So if you want to ship it to Benison or someone like that, you can do that, pay them some money for an authentication report, which is huge. I'd much rather pay $200 to $300 for someone to check the piece out and determine right then and there if it's fake, if there's an issue, if it needs service, so that I can go immediately back to the seller or the platform and negotiate or get a refund, versus not doing it and risking thousands upon tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to make that call on the fly. So it's a much easier access point than you think. It's much easier to get than you think, but a lot of people don't even know how to access that or don't think to do it because they think it's out of their peripheral. You can absolutely take a pre-owned timepiece and bring it to someone like Benison or an authentication center and get that checked immediately. The sooner you do it, the better, so that you do not get screwed. If you wait, then there is a lot of wiggle room for the seller to argue that you did something or manipulated the watch. The platform can ask you for more data. And if you have a report showing what's going on with the watch and you did it immediately, you're 10 to 100 times more likely to get back what you need out of it or negotiate the price and then just get the watch serviced, right? So if you see that it needed an overhaul and the person didn't know that and you bought the watch for $8,000, maybe you know you can get an overhaul for $1,500 at Benison and you negotiate another $2,500 off the watch. Well, now you just got a killer deal and a fresh new service and a new piece under warranty for 18 months. Huge opportunity if you know how to work it the right way. You see what I'm saying? Number 5, and this is the one that we'll close on for now, is make sure that when you're buying watches and brands, to buy haute horology type brands. Don't put your money into pieces that are mall watches. So an example, put your money into Audemars Piguet, Rolex, Patek Philippe, Cartier, Omega, Ulysse Nardin, Girard-Perregaux, Jaeger-LeCoultre, for example. Don't put your money into Hamilton, into, what is it? There's like a bunch of designer brands like Hermes. Don't put it into brands like Invicta. Don't put it into brands like Swatch, even though Swatch is cool, unless it's something like an Omega Time Swatch, unless you want to lose money. I wouldn't even put it into Tag Heuer, except for a few models. It's a very cheap brand, and now, just now, they're starting to make in-house movements. Put it into things like Panerai. Put it into things like Frank Muller. Don't put it into things like, let's use some other crazy ones that I haven't seen in a long time. Movado, Citizens Eco. You can name some higher end brands. Like, people think that Michael Kors is a good brand and Chanel's a good brand, and they're just designer brands with crap movements in them. They're not haute horology. Some people will look at Raymond Whale or Rado as brands that can still work, and it's not true. Those are mall brands. Those are brands that don't hold value. If you go up to Grand Seiko, that can work. If you go to Seiko, not really. So again, you'll probably have some arguments there. I'll probably hear some hate from some of the Seiko fanboys and turtle lovers, but I like to debate. So that's what you guys need to look into when you're actually assessing what you're going to get and how to buy a luxury timepiece, especially in the pre-owned market. I hope some of these tips will help you out, and I hope you consider these 5 things when you're making requests so that you do not get screwed over, okay? We're going to have a lot more content coming up in response to some of your comments, to some of your questions, so keep them coming in the comments below, because I am responding, listening, and actively doing videos for you guys based on this. Like, share, subscribe this channel, as we're going to have a lot more cool stuff coming down the pipe, and I'll see you next time, all right? Take care. Peace.